Good morning, Earthlings. Aaron here, aka AJ, aka Papa. It is March 15th, 2020, and I'm back with another vlog to feast your eyes and ears indubitably upon my sweet little morsels of good intention, love, and light. How are you today? I am doing fairly well, thank you for asking. I slept well, although not many hours, but quality hours, so I'm grateful for that. And I am up and getting ready for an 8-hour day at the bookstore today. I get to do some art projects at work today, which is pretty exciting. I've got a bookshelf that they want me to paint and a sign that they would like for me to make. And yeah, it's gonna be fun to get some art done while I'm working. And I did a sign yesterday, and I think once they saw that I actually, had a skill set in that area, they were more than happy to put me to work on other things. And they are working on a big mural at the wall, on the wall at work as well. And eventually I'll get to do a little work on that as well. So lots of art stuff going on there, and that makes me really happy. As far as updating goes, I don't have a lot to tell you. I have been working mostly on the project, the movie music that I got invited to do. So I haven't had a ton of free extra time to get everything else done. I have been really focused on eating as healthily as possible. Zach and I went and spent $200 on groceries the other day, and so I've been just kind of really keeping it to veganism, but I did get a fair amount of sort of veganish junk food, so I'm still eating a little bit of that, but I think it's just moderation, guys. You just gotta do what you can do. I definitely have upped my intake of fruits and vegetables massively, so that is gonna help long run. And other than that, I don't have a whole lot to relay to you. I think that the mayhem of the coronavirus stuff is starting to, I think it reached its peak and it's starting to cool off a little bit, hopefully. I mean, we're still definitely talking a lot about it, and we're still definitely not, out of the ballpark, so to speak, but we are definitely not as spazzed out about it as we have been, although the grocery stores are pretty empty right now. And it's fortunate for Zach and I that we had just done the grocery shopping when all of this craziness happened. I think that it's a sad thing that there are people out there who don't have what they need and the grocery stores are empty. We all know that when we feel fear, we seek things to comfort that fear, and I feel like that's what people did. They sought out trying to acquire things to fill the fear or the lack of security that they were feeling. I really haven't been on Facebook very much lately because there's so much griping and complaining about it that I just have to take a break from it, because it doesn't help to complain and it doesn't help to read complaints. So I've just been taking some time to really just focus on this project at hand and making some book art and yeah, just reading books and stuff and doing my vlogs. It's been a good one. Let's get down to Zen Quote of the Day, shall we? Zen Quote of the Day comes from Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. I'm still working my way through this book, and I've been taking my time just because it is kind of a dense read, and also whenever you're reading something that gives you principles that you could potentially utilize to better your life, you always want to read it slowly. But this is rule number 4 for how to win people to your way of thinking. And rule number 4 says, when you wish to win people to your way of thinking, don't forget to use rule number 4, begin in a friendly way. Kind of briefly touched on how on social media right now, there is a lot of backbiting and arguing about the coronavirus thing. We are also in the middle of a political nightmare with politics being so heated and polarizing right now, and with all of that being in play at this time, people are really on edge. And I think that for me, it has been really eye-opening to see, where people's threshold of kindness is. And people have kind of dropped the niceties, so to speak, when it comes to certain subjects, and they just jump right down your throat. And because of that, I wanted to talk about rule number 4, which is begin in a kind way. And I just wanted to talk about this because, we get so much further when we're kind to people. We get so much more accomplished when we begin in a kind way. When you approach a person who is doing something or saying something that is bothersome to you, when you jump right in there and start listing their faults and why you are offended by what they do, all you do is put them on the defensive, and all they do is just defend their actions, and they get meaner and kind of more rigid. And the reality is 99% of the time, when you approach a person in a non-kind way, you get 0 things accomplished. You get nothing accomplished, and you both leave angry, and sometimes friendships are lost, and sometimes families are estranged because of such things. So we have to learn how to begin in a kind way. And when we approach people and say they're doing something that is problematic to you or is potentially hindering you in some sort of way, instead of jumping in and be like, you're doing this and I don't like it, get out of my face, stop doing this, instead of doing that, just say, hey, I'm wondering if you could tell me why it is that this is your action. How have we ended up here to where this is what you do? And this is huge, because when you start by seeking to understand a person's actions, people are a lot less likely to become defensive. When you automatically give them the opportunity to explain but not have to defend, then they are more likely to be open to hearing feedback on that after they get the chance to explain. And once say somebody is doing something that hinders you, and you ask them to explain, and they explain, and you still disagree with the reasoning behind why they do that, it's very simple for you to say, oh, I see now why it is that you do that. Could it be that if you went about it this way, you might get better results? Or could it be, that if you attack it from this angle, that it might be easier for you to get the response that you're looking for? And in that way, people are being given options or ideas that they can choose for themselves. Instead of you trying to choose their actions for them, they are being allowed to choose their actions for themselves. And that's what everyone in the world wants. They want to make their own decisions, So it's important for us to remember to begin any conversation in a kind way. This doesn't even have to apply to like when somebody's doing something that irritates you. Just any conversation, just begin it in a kind way. If you disagree politically with somebody and they're spewing a whole bunch of, their perspective online on Facebook or on wherever, and you disagree with them, first off, it is completely possible for you to just say nothing, for you to just let them have their say and move on with your life. But if you feel you must say something, it is imperative that you approach that person in a kind way. And especially on social media, you have to be very careful of your verbiage, because it will be taken wrong if you're not very careful how you put things. And because of that, if you go on social media and you jump down somebody's throats about their opinion, you are not doing anything positive for your perspective. They're going to look at you and go, well, that person just went absolutely insane on somebody, but now you want me to believe what you believe? I don't think so, because it's obviously not making you a very good person. So with all of that being said, I just wanted to talk a little bit about, that kinder approach, and I think that a lot of, throughout our lives, we've heard lots of phraseology on, that thought process, but you definitely catch more bees with honey than you do with vinegar, flies with honey than vinegar, whatever that saying is. But that's an old one that has been being said for a very long time, and it still rings true. So remember that, guys. Be kind to each other today. Begin every conversation in a kind way, and offer options instead of making declarations or making a person feel as though they have to act in the way that you want them to, because the reality is we have no control over anybody else, nor should we. Everyone should have the freedom to behave, act, and move the way that they feel they need to, unless it is harmful to the people around them. So keep that in mind, guys. Begin in a kind way. I love you very much. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.